Hi, my name is Lisa Wixit, and I'm an experienced designer at Clif Bar. And as an experienced designer, I do things ranging from illustrations to three-dimensional environments, just a range of types of ways consumers experience our brand. And almost everything that I do, I have to do mock-ups and prototypes first, partly so that I can wrap my head around a problem and make sure I'm designing it correctly, and also partly to sell the concept in and sell my solution in. So I use mock-ups for problem solving. So I have one right behind me. Let me show you this one. This one is a mock-up for a trade show called Interbike. It's the biggest trade show for the cycling industry. And I have a 30 by 40 space. And so what I did is I took a cutting mat, and each inch equals a foot to me. So I made this model so every inch equals a foot. So it's scaled down appropriately. And this way we can problem solve and think things through. It's one thing to have a drawing on a two-dimensional paper, but you don't really get the feeling until you actually have something that's 3D, and we can move things around, and oh my gosh, we forgot about this. So it really tests your problems and your solution thoroughly, as opposed to having something that's two-dimensional and you can kind of fudge things and not really see all the issues. So here, if you want to come over here, I had issues of having a meeting space. So, okay, you know what? We've got a good meeting space. Let me mock it up for you. And how do we get our photographs of our athletes in? Well, we can put them on the stage, but actually what we did was a very vintage solution. Usually we have color posters like this, but instead we did kind of like a nice sepia tone that's not shown here. But that way we could look, oh, that doesn't really match the aesthetic. How do we tweak it to make it fit this kind of Belgium town? So the whole concept for this theme of this booth was to make it like the classics, these classic bike rides that they ride on cobblestones. And in fact, what you see here is this wood, but eventually I got cobblestone flooring and made it look like more like a cobblestone environment. Let me show you over here. So you can imagine me in a meeting, I'm like, you know what? We should make it look like cobblestone flooring. I actually have something. This is a little glossy. We actually think it was very matte. But I'm trying to make this environment so when you walk on it, the flooring is engaging, the ceiling's engaging, and the space on all different levels is engaging with you. It's just not like one little zone. It's a lot of depths to it. So over here, I want to do something above, so I did these little white flags. Otherwise, your line of sight kind of zooms right through the whole space. So we did these really simple, cheap white flags, and it made the environment. It was amazing. It kind of defined the space. And at this trade show, you have some other booths that are very slick. They have very techy-looking photographs and very mass-looking type environments. But ours felt so homey and fun, like you want to hang out in it, because we had a lot of different textures going on. We had textures on these walls, like I did in this little model. You can kind of see that this kind of stone texture. But I was able to find really cool materials that we painted and made it look like cobblestone wall, flooring, or walls, or brick walls, and it gave it a lot more soul to the whole environment. So when I present a concept, I have it in miniature scale, and then I have, it would look like this kind of thing. So it's a combination of tools I'm using. But the most powerful tool I have to say is the scale model, because then they can test out issues, how we're going to sell our concepts, how we're going to pitch to the buyers. Well, we've got this nice little meeting area here that's kind of impromptu. This meeting area is more formal. Here we can start talking about what are the different occasions that you eat Clif Bar. We have this theme of before, during, and after, and we can communicate it in many different levels with this kind of environment. So this is one example. Over here's another one. Let's go over here. This had to be done so quickly. I had like 2 weeks to design this. This is for the food and nutrition trade show. And so I thought it would be really fun to do something on craft paper, because a lot of our aesthetics around this food and nutrition area is about crafting food. Really taking our time to understand our craft and how we make our food. And it's not processed. It's more like understanding the ingredients and organics, and we're very passionate about all that. So how do you communicate that visually in a booth environment? So I did really quick and dirty. I just used corrugated cardboard. In fact, some of this cardboard was from my home. I think I had some like shoebox. And I love just repurposing things. And this bag here was a shopping bag that I had from my winter grocery store, and I needed some kind of craft paper. And then it was so funny, the fabricator's like, did you want the crinkles in this that you had here? I'm like, no, that's just what I had. I just had a bag. Like, it can be smooth. It doesn't have to be perfectly like my model. But people love this, so we will have this model for the food and nutrition show. And then on this side, I'm going to rotate the table a little bit. It's called OR, Outdoor Retailer. So, you know, the REIs and people who hike and ski and all sorts of things. This one was for summer outdoor retailer, so it's dealing with summer type outdoor events. So we decided to make our thing about a mess tent, where you cook food when you're outdoors during the summer. So we actually had birch posts. I didn't have any birch posts, but I took twigs from outside and painted them white to make them look like a birch post. And then we used this material. This is the actual material we used, and tried to let a little light come through. If this was a solid piece of canvas, it'd make the environment feel really dark. So we wanted a little bit of light to come through. And so the idea is people would sample our different products in the different zones. We have like before, during, after your event when you would consume things. On the back wall, we had this really cool meeting area. I don't have the tables here, but we had a TV set in here, and we made the window look like a part of a tent. So it's kind of carrying on the theme, as if you were in a camping tent and you see this really cool video on a program that we did. Let's see, what other goodies we have? We have some goodies over here that I'll show you. Mind the cobblestone flooring. Go through it. So upstairs we had a diorama that was, we're trying to tell stories in a visual way, in a dimensional way. Sometimes stories are done verbally, sometimes they're done, written, but this way we wanted to do something that you got immediately. Sometimes we see something that's dimensional, it can communicate a story quickly, and it's more engaging. So what we had upstairs, this is the first one we started, like, oh, is it look like a mountain? Because we have a lot of metaphors related to mountains and white roads that you travel on. And maybe inside each of these is a little diorama. For example, a diorama like this. And this is Gary's garage, where he was living for a while when he first came up with this concept. He had a piano in his garage and all his bikes and things. So this was the first concept, and upstairs you saw it evolve to something where it was actually things moved, and it was different stories about our aspirations. So this is where it begins, and I just do things quick and dirty. I don't expect it to be exactly this, but it's just a starting point to have a conversation. Sometimes it's really hard to have a conversation if you have nothing to look at. So this way they say, oh no, we don't want to look like this, but I'm glad you brought that up because I actually would like it to be like this. So I don't have my heart set on every little thing I make. It's just a tool and a starting point.